Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
There's many people that are still confusing what Haumai is and what Hankaar is. Both these words are mentioned in Gurbani, but if we look closely enough, we'll even see in the English translation they're both translated differently. One will see Haumai translated as ego, and the other will see that Hankaar is translated to pride. But the word Hankaar often comes up in the list of 5, it's amongst 5. So that will be Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankaar. But the word Haumai, it's translated to ego, and that is translated to pride, Hankaar is. So, but even when we read these translations and the question is asked to people, they still seem to be mixing even the English translations up to ego and pride, thinking that they're very similar things. But before we go on, why is it even important to understand the difference between the two? The reason is so that we're able to be more self-conscious, so that we're able to be more aware of where we actually are in ourselves, where we actually are in our spiritual journey. Because just knowing this, knowing what the word means, we'll be able to identify it with ourselves to see where we are in our own journey. So within Guru Granth Sahib Ji, if we're seeing that something is called the 5 evils, something is called the 5 thieves, that these 5 thieves are looting us, but if we don't even know what the 5 thieves are, then if we're not even able to identify them clearly, how are we going to even put a fight up with them? How are we going to even become conscious of them to actually rise above them? So Guru Sahib Ji actually say to us that is dehi andar panch chor vas hai, kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankara. And so they say that within this body there is these 5 thieves that are looting us, and in that list Guru Sahib Ji has actually listed Hankara. Ankara, they mean Hankaar. So there it's pride. So it's important for us to understand that ego and pride are 2 different things. And I think for us to understand, we need to translate ego even further. And that further translation to ego would be identity. If we look at it literally, Ho means I, and then Haumai, ma means me, meaning I am. What I think I am. So there's one thing, we could be identifying ourselves with something, and that's all I know of myself to be. And that could be many things. But to understand what those many things are, we're going to take some support from Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And the reason we're going to do this is it will help us to connect to Guru Gobind Singh Ji's words deeper. Guru Gobind Singh Ji say to us that Chakkar chahan ar barna jaat ar paat nahan jeh. But we're going to concentrate on this part. Roop rang ar rekh pekh kau keh na sakat ke. And often we'll think that this is a description of somebody called God. That roop meaning form, which we'll go into a little bit deeper in a moment to understand identity. Roop rang meaning color, roop rang ar meaning and, roop rang ar rekh meaning outline, pekh meaning the clothes somebody wears. Roop rang ar rekh pekh kau keh na sakat ke. That nobody is able to say that God has any of these. But remember, when we think God, we still seem to look at God in duality. We still seem to think that God hasn't got any of these, and we still don't bring that upon us. So how can we reflect and take this onto us? It means that that same quality that Paramatma, that supreme light is made from, our Atma, our soul, that is a part of that super soul, if you want to say. There's no perfect word to describe that one. So where our true self, what it's made up of, is the same as what that Pari Atma is made up of, that supreme being is made up of. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji is actually telling us that your soul, who you actually are, is not made up of any of those things that we've just listed. So there's some people that will identify themselves with what? Roop, with their form, with their beauty, with the way they look. And somebody could be so caught up in that and identify themselves, and they only know their physical self, their actual physical being, their physical beauty, and we only know this hand, we only know this face, and we start to believe this is what we are. So that becomes I am. That is the ego. But remember, when we identify ourselves with only that, that means then there is an end to that as well. So that means we're still stuck in the cycle of birth and death, because that one day will come to an end. Guru Sahib Ji says the only thing that is born and dies is your I am, is your ego. Guru Sahib says, Janam Maran usi hi ko hai re. That's what it is that actually goes through that cycle of birth and death. So that's what actually causes us pain and suffering when that's all we know. But then remember, one that is stuck in their beauty and then stuck in their own form, how can then now that turn from identity to then pride? Without that I am, without that ego, what we recognize ourselves to be, without that, there can't be any of those five. But from that comes then the other five, then comes actual pride, comes then Hankaar. Then when we start to discriminate, we start to separate. We don't want to associate with certain people because of the way they look. And then we don't want to associate with somebody just because of their beauty. We might see their beauty to be slightly less than ours. Or sometimes somebody will want to associate with somebody where they feel that their beauty is less, so they can get more attention. And that is the root cause of suffering when we're stuck in that. And then that becomes the pride when we're looking down at someone, they're actually not as beautiful as me. Their form isn't actually great as mine. Can you see the difference now? One, we're identifying ourselves with being in ignorance, not knowing what we really are, which is a part of Paramatma, the Atma. Then, so we just think with that, the suffering is because that's going to come to an end. And we're looking down at somebody else as well. Roop, Rang, color. How much issues come about just due to color? How many of you watching this video go to work and are discriminated against, even though it's not outright, it's not in your face, it's not being said, it's not being admitted, just because of your color, you're not getting a promotion. Just because of your color, somebody's looking at you in a different way and not letting you progress. We just spoke about forms. Somebody might have, you might have your case, and somebody doesn't understand and accept your case because they're stuck at form. That's I am. They're just stuck at form. They think everybody has to be like this. So if somebody's not like that, they'll discriminate against them, look at them differently, look down at them. That's pride. That's looting us now, looting our compassion, saying, oh, look at them, why have they got long hair? That's not hygienic. And then saying, oh, look how much somebody goes to do their rishta. Somebody needs to get married. No matter how much they lie and pretend, you know what, looks don't matter. You know what, their color doesn't actually matter if they're a little bit dark. But the truth is, what does everybody want? What does everyone say? They'll ask, Oda rang gora hai? Oda rang pakka ta nahi? Are they dark skinned or are they light? And somehow or another, even if they don't admit it, it's happened to myself. I've given somebody a picture of somebody and they've not said anything first. Then I'm like, what's happening, bro? How come you've not replied? How come you've not told me what you think? But I've got my own issues going on, expectations of this person, how they should be, what state of mind they should be at. But then what's happened? They've not replied just because they thought they were a little too dark skinned. Rek, that's an identity, and then we discriminate and then we actually look down at somebody else. Roop Rang, Ar Rek. Rek is an amazing one. Rek, we don't often look at this like this. Rek means an outline of someone. We know that we can't sketch an outline to say Paramatma is this shaped. That can't be done of our Atma as well. But that can be done of this form of the Roop. It could be sketched out, the outline of this form. And people get stuck at that as well. They look at people's body shapes. And they might feel somebody's fat. They give them that description. Somebody's overweight. So they start to discriminate against them. They start to laugh at them, start to look down at them, and looking down at them and laughing at them. Then what is that? That is then pride. That is Hankaar, a part of the five that is looting us. Like Bhagt Kabir ji say, Kabir garb na kijiye, rank na hasiye koe. This says, Kabir, garb na kijiye. Garb again is another word for Hankaar, it's another word for pride. Man is another word for pride as well. So it's saying that garb na kijiye, don't have pride. Rank na hasiye koi, don't laugh at somebody that you're seeing at this moment to be lower than you. Because ajahe so now samundar mein kya jana kya hoye. At the moment you've still got breath in this body, you don't know what's going to happen to you. We don't know when our form is going to change. We don't know when our outline is going to change. So we're stuck in that. Look how much this affects us in our everyday lives. Look how much this affects us in school. Somebody gets bullied because of that. Somebody might get bullied because they look too skinny. Their feet are weird shaped. That's how people look at them. Your ears stick out too much, whatever it may be, but stuck just at a rake. And they've identified other people with that, and they only identify themselves with that. And it's causing so much problems. Look how much issues this is causing in the workplaces. This is causing distress, hurt, pain. It's because we don't know what we are and we're stuck in Haumai. That's all we know. Roop rang ar rekh pek, just with the way somebody dresses. How different. Sometimes if somebody's dressed a little odd to what we think is normal, and then we've got a perception of what normal is and we think that's a bit weird the way they're dressed, so we actually try and keep ourselves a little bit away from them and think, I don't know if I want to associate with them, because all we know is that. All we know is big. That's become our identity. It's become our Haumai. This is what I am. And then we see somebody different and then the pride kicks in. Sangeet, this is now starting to make more sense, hopefully, for us and giving us clarity. But we're not any of those, because Mantu Jot Swarup hai. Guru Sahib Ji saying, apna mulk, recognize what you are. Kau keh na sakte ke. What you actually are cannot be said. Guru Sahib Ji, that's why they say it to us. They say, Sabna jiyan ka ek data, is saying that everyone has one giver, not two. Sabna jiyan ka ek data. So, for that reason, main visar na jaye. Don't let me forget me. Don't let me forget who I actually am. That's why Bhagavad Gita say, Aap sawar hai. I want to clean up this mess. I want to clean up this rake that I'm stuck in. I'm just stuck in that, just the outline, the shapes of somebody, the way somebody is formed. I'm just stuck in the actual beauty of somebody. I'm stuck in the way how beautiful somebody's eyes are, noses, whatever it may be. I'm stuck in somebody's color. So, aap saware, I want to clean that up. I want to go beyond that. Aap saware, who do I want to meet? Main I want to meet myself. I want to meet, who am I? We need to ask this question, main what's going to happen? Why do you want to meet yourself? Main sukh hoye. Then I'll be truly joyful at every moment. Until we're still in Haumai, identifying ourselves as only that, in those things, there's gonna be pride. Pride will destroy us and we'll never seek to have happiness. We'll never actually reach true happiness. And we'll keep going through difficulties in our workplaces, in school, in family relationships, in husband and wife relationships. Happens many of times. A couple gets married, one might put on a bit of weight because they're stuck in rake, and that's it, they're not attracted to them anymore. It breaks their marriage because we're just stuck in that mode. If we start getting realization, maybe this is where somebody's coming from, we have a better understanding of them, to know that they're in that Haumai. But it's not about judging others, but it's more about recognizing that, and then being more compassionate towards them and recognizing it, the biggest of all, in ourselves. Nanak parkhe aapko, judging ourselves where we are standing. What is causing my suffering? My suffering is due to what I'm identifying myself as, and I can't see past that. So hopefully this is going to leave some clarity. But let this wisdom go inside. Contemplate this wisdom and allow it. Open your heart to take this to school, to work, to family relationships, anywhere, whatever I've missed out. Just fill that gap for me. Take it wherever you are in your lives and allow it to take you to a better place beyond what we've been thinking we are, and understanding why somebody else is being like that as well, and then to a happier and a more joyful place. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.